We are going to start our study session. Shh. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. We are going to go to item 9. And do I have any of these? Not yet. I'll know by Monday. I'm going to call that one ready. All righty. Who's taking Councilor Caldwell's? Who's on the committee?
I'm not in Parks.
Who's on Parks?
I'll take it if you want.
Who's on Parks?
They're asking to, but I'll take it.
All right, thank you.
All right, so Councilor Caldwell has items 10 through 15.
Good afternoon, Commissioner Julie Lefebvre, Parks and Recreation. Item number 10, we are withdrawing. Item 11 is to enter into an agreement with both Onondaga County and Friends of Second Chance Adoption Shelter. This is to allow us to move city staff to their building to get dogs out of our current shelter so that they can go there. We'd work with Second Chance so that the dogs can get adopted, and we also free up space in our current shelter.
Are they the same ones in 10?
10 was just, we had, on the last agenda, we had separate items, one for county, one for Second Chance. So that's why 10 is taken out, and 11 has both of them in the same item.
I just have a comment. I just want to commend the Parks Department and Second Chance and all the people involved with helping our animals in Syracuse, because as we know, we have limited shelter space and other resources. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item number 12, excuse me, is there's two things here. Accept money from National Grid. However, we would like to transfer that money and have them write the check to the Syracuse Parks Conservancy. This is a reimbursement for 277 trees that were planted at $50 per tree. The money would go to the Syracuse Parks Conservancy that they would use for promotion of the Urban Forest Master Plan. Steve Harris is not here. He was going to, if you had any specific questions. Okay, item number 13 is to authorize payment to various performers for not to exceed $2,000 for our Big Rig Day. And item 14 and 15, Janet, is that you? Okay, that's all for mine.
Okay. Jude?
Yes. Yes.
Just going back to item 11 for a second.
Okay.
So I know we spoke before about the staff and how, this kind of mix between city parks and the police and the dog control, all of that.
So you want to break it down?
Yes.
Okay, so dog control officers will remain dog control officers and continue to do their work because they get involved in picking up the dogs and taking them to the bunkhouse, Barks and Rec. From there, their job is done. They've picked up the dog, whether they took it or found it, whatever. This point, it would be city employees from the Parks Department at the shelter working hand in hand with Second Chance to do the adoptions.
Okay. So it wouldn't involve police at all, right?
No, because these are the dogs that have already been, they've sat there, the redemption period has passed, they're available for adoption, they're ready to find new owners. And if you can correct me if I'm wrong on it. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Sharon Owens, Deputy Mayor. I'm here for 14 and 15. We're back before the council to continue the services we provide for the summer fellowship program. We're asking the council to appropriate $600,000 of ARPA funds. For 14 and 15 is to enter into agreement with the Syracuse Urban Partnership. 5% of the $600,000 would be to cover administrative costs. Any questions?
Thank you. Councilor Green.
Thank you, Madam President. Items 16 and 17 relate to the community broadband program. You can come up if you want, Jen. We did have a committee meeting on this at 10 o'clock, and I know you probably have some handouts you can give to counselors.
Yeah.
I know the representatives are here too.
We do have some handouts. Jen Tift, Director of Strategic Initiatives with the city. Thank you, Helen Hudson, for that assist with the water back there. I'm having some allergy problems today. So items 16 and 17 are for the same program. This is the community broadband program. Item 16 is to approve the ARPA funding for the program, and 17 is to enter into an agreement with CBN Syracuse LLC, which is going to be our vendor who's going to help to install the network and operate the network on our behalf. Again, this is a program that's going to actually provide subscription-based home internet service initially to lower-income families in the Near West Side, the Southwest, and Brighton neighborhoods as a starting point. So it's a pilot program, which we will be looking at expanding citywide.
May I approach the Thank you.
And so the handout's really informative. You know,
One over this way.
so I think once counselors, anyone that wasn't able to make the initial meeting, I think once you get a chance to read through that, it should answer any questions that you'd have. But then, Jen, if you're able to be accessible beyond this meeting, if people have additional questions before we vote on Monday, and then if there's questions to go beyond Jen, if you're able to connect counselors that weren't able to make the meeting with CBN, I think that'd be helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to answer any questions that folks have between now and Monday, and really look forward to working with council to launch this program.
And I just want to, oh, go ahead.
One quick note, do you have a new staffer involved in the project here at the city?
We do, yeah. So we actually have a new manager for Smart Cities Initiatives who works with me in the mayor's office, Vinny Scipione. Folks will be seeing and hearing from Vinny. He's going to be helping, obviously, on the staff side to execute this project, and then Vinny's helping me with a lot of our other sort of smart city technology type programs as well. But yeah, we're trying to increase obviously our capacity since it takes a lot of effort to pull this type of stuff off, and we know we don't want to shortchange the effort.
And I just want to say thank you, Jennifer, because this is very needed, especially when you're talking about equity across the city. So I appreciate the effort that's being made, and I think that, I was on the RFP, so I think that we made the better of the choice. But I only just want to make one little comment.
Sure.
When the media reports out, please stop saying poor. Say underserved. Stop saying poor. That's just one of my pet peeves.
Noted. Thank you, President Hudson.
When you say Southwest, what neighborhood is really involved in that?
Yeah, so Counselor, on the one pager that I handed out last time, and I think it's on the dais as well, we're really talking about these 10 census tracts that are outlined in the heavy black outline. And so it's really the East Adams neighborhood, the area that kind of stretches south, through Brighton, and then the near west side, which goes, to cover census tracts 50, 40, and 39. So that's really the catchment. Just basically just south and west of downtown.
As a pilot, right?
As a pilot, correct.
Right.
Correct.
And Jen, I know I'm beleaguering this point, but you have a plan for a very robust outreach effort to these neighborhoods, so everybody knows?
We do, yeah. So we're going to be certainly working with our partners at CBN to produce, obviously, a lot of the collateral and the material, about the program. They're going to be hiring a lot of staff who are going to be, communicating, and really, honestly, more than that, just physically getting out into the community to help enroll folks, whether it's at the grocery stores or the community centers or, the places where people are in the community. But in addition to that, we're looking at, from the city's perspective, supplementing that with other community-based organization support. So we've had lots of conversations with, the Blueprint 15 team, with a host of other community-based organizations that serve residents in this area, because we know we want to, really get the message out. We honestly want to start doing that now. So, it'll take us a couple of months to get a contract in place and to really start to install the network. But we need to start doing, once, we receive your approval, we need to start doing the outreach now so we get people not just knowledgeable about what this is, but frankly excited about it. And things like that. So we're going to start doing that very soon, probably right after you all approve, hopefully on Monday. And so, we're happy to share, more details with this group. I'm going to be presenting at next month's TNT, both for the West Side and for the South Side. we'll be doing a lot more of that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think we all know that to pull this off successfully and to really get enrollment at the levels we want to see enrollment, it's going to take a lot of grassroots, kind of hand-to-hand, door-to-door engagement.
Will you have this information translated into?
We will.
You will understand.
Yeah, we will. So, the provider we've selected has a lot of specific experience translating and providing staff services in Spanish, but we're going to be evaluating in this particular catchment in particular what other primary languages are used, and then we've got obviously the city's translation services that we use. We'll be partnering with.
As it's not Google Translate. Doesn't work.
Yeah, no, we're not going to use Google Translate.
Okay.
Excellent point. But yeah, happy to answer questions offline after everyone has a chance to read through the material.
Thanks, Jen.
Thank you.
Item 18.
Afternoon, councilors. Dave Proack, Director of IT. We're asking for a waiver of the RFP so that we can hire Eastcom. Eastcom is a company that installs fiber optic cable, and we're extending our network down to One Park Place for our eventual move. So we're asking for a waiver of the RFP. There's getting this route down there proved out by Verizon was a bit of a challenge, more than we thought, and it took up until last month to get the actual route approved. Eastcom's been working with us for a while now to identify where it's going to go in each building. They're familiar with the project. They've done other fiber optic work here in downtown Syracuse, and we're ordering the fiber optic cable itself this week, and we're hoping to have them on Eastcom on contract so we can install this late April, early May.
Question.
Yes,
So we're having it installed, but we're renters in that building, so who owns that fiber?
So, what I'm concerned with, the network has nothing, we're tenants over there,
Right.
but we own the fiber. So that means beyond this cost, beyond the installation costs and the cost for the actual fiber, our expense is done. We don't have an ongoing monthly expense to have our network extended over there. So we own the fiber that goes over there, and we're running it through Verizon's conduit system. We have a right to that because they are in the right-of-way, and it's a right that we exercise when we can, and this saves us a lot of expense because we're going to be right in there, right next to all of Verizon's wires, if you will. And once we're in there, we pay, there's no ongoing expense for it. So we're paying up front for the install, and we pay for the fiber ourselves. We own that, and it'll go up to the 7th floor and the 1st floor over at One Park Place.
So if we want to do something more with that fiber down the road, that's ours to do, and we don't have to pay anybody else to.
True, but we always have to ask permission for Verizon, so all that stuff, and they leave the last spare fiber for themselves and the conduit space and all that. But yes, to answer your question.
About maintenance, Dave.
Well, everybody hates to see when these things get break or cut. Verizon really guards their conduit system well, so there's not a lot of outside people in there, and hopefully it doesn't break very often. If ours breaks, theirs is going to break. So we would get theirs repaired, ours repaired the same time theirs would be. So that's kind of, you wait and see and you hope it doesn't happen.
Is there a projection of the potential cost of maintenance at all?
The fiber maintenance is based on, for the most part, is based on when it breaks. It's really, really, I'm going to say maintenance free, because if a car hit a pole, we get impacted by that. But beyond that sort of thing, all this stuff is being run underground from here all the way to inside One Park Place, so it escapes a lot of the day-to-day maintenance.
Any other questions on 18? Okay,
thank you.
Item 19. Kelsey, you were talking earlier, but I'm going to lose credibility with my neighbors on the east side by introducing legislation with the words deer and bait in it and have it only be IT work. so very confusing. But.
Yeah, so Kelsey May, Director of Digital Services. So councilors, a couple years ago, we had conducted a competitive bid for a massive payroll modernization effort, of which a key portion of that was AS400 retirement services. So the individual that was hired for under that competitive bid was actually a subcontractor. So she's been working with the city for the last year and a half, I would say, almost 2 years. And we find a lot of value in what she does. She's proven to build really strong relationships and been really effective at helping us to actually conduct and oversee those AS400 retirement activities, whether it be building a plan. She's been helping to oversee the actual retirement components of the hardware, the software, the data, and we would like to enter into contract directly with this individual and her company as a sole proprietor in order to save money and remove the subcontracting element.
Questions?
So you currently have a contract to utilize her talent through another company, right?
Correct.
And
yep, that was
expired, did you say?
Yes, and it was so that was competitively bid. It did expire. We'd like to keep her on and cut out that middleman, get a better rate and better.
It expired when?
It expired in March.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And then the 51,000 would cover 1 year?
That would cover through the end of June. So we would have to, we've budgeted and we've accounted for keeping her on in a lower capacity for the next year in this year's budget, or next year's budget, excuse me.
So when it expires in June, does that mean AS400 is rolled over, is retired?
I wish that were the case. Absolutely would be a dream of mine. No, we have several more major initiatives related to AS400 retirement, so we would be looking to keep her on beyond June. But we, so core HR data, payroll processing, some of the codes, information and codes data, that's still all housed in the AS400.
So do we have an end date for AS400?
We can very hopefully say that within the next 2 years, components of it will be retired. But with anything
before it does.
Yeah, with anything, as we know, these projects take a long time. There's many delays. It can take a large, significant effort to actually implement the platforms that replace the AS400, and that's typically the biggest dependency, is having the new platform in place, having it adopted by everybody at the city or whoever the end users are, and actually being able to do that migration. So we have a plan in place, and we have a future state idea of how we want to retire it. It's going to depend on other priority projects within the departments, how much the departments can actually roll this out and embrace the change and manage the change, as well as, getting the data correct within the legacy system so that it's migrated correctly. So we're looking at a pretty significant challenge in daily operations to be able to migrate these things and convert them, but it is definitely a priority.
Do you know how long we've had AS400? 30 years?
About 45.
Wow.
I think that's the latest or oldest record that we have.
So starting July 1, what will be the cost for a full year for her services?
So we would have to revisit, because we look to lower the number of hours that we engage her with, but it would likely be lower this amount over the course of 4 quarters, because this is about 1 quarter.
So will this be embedded, next year will be embedded in the budget that we're getting ready to review, so by then you'll have a number?
Correct. Yep.
I was just wondering, Kelsey, the Deputy Commissioner Skapansky, and we have talked about the seizure of properties and all that. Are you working on that issue that seems to crop up all the time, the inability of us to transfer properties, seize properties, let people know that they're in arrears and taxes and things like that? Is that part of
what Kelsey is talking about? Is a fundamentally different software than what you were talking about with
it's
e-tax.
fundamentally different, but isn't Ms. May in charge of
there are no
software
components of yes, she is.
Okay.
This is a within kind of the order of what's happening right now. It's a different topic.
This is a generational problem we're having, though. We have this problem quite a bit, and I'm just wondering, are we working together to find a solution to this?
Yes. This is related to the e-tax software. Yeah, so this is definitely on our radar. It is an ongoing issue. We've had over the last, however many administrations, a lot of different decentralized siloed procurement of software. Over the last couple of years, we worked really, really hard to centralize not only the assessment of needs, the actual procurement of software, the matching of procuring that software across multiple departments' needs instead of just one department. So we've had success over the last couple of years, really truly having a centralized vision for how technology is actually going to enable and support operations across the enterprise instead of just serving one particular department's needs.
Well, that's good. I think we're probably more interested in just, is a solution on the horizon or isn't it? Because, I mean, the thing is, with the advent of a lot of things that are happening in this community, Micron and all that, the seizure of properties to prepare for affordable housing and many other things to meet the housing needs that we're going to need as a city, this is sort of a big impediment, rather.
Absolutely, Councilor. Frank Kaliva, the city's chief administrative officer.
I like when people say absolutely after I say something. I like that. Agree?
No, absolutely. I mean, your point is an important one. You hate it when I say that, but it is. So there is a significant amount of change that needs to take place. Everything from AS400 retirement to the applications that we consider to be core to the operations of the various departments across the city. We can only change so much, and so what we're, in any given period of time, both financially and just the city's ability to consume change. So next week, the senior staff is sitting down to look at all of those opportunities for improvement and prioritizing those, and we're happy to share that plan at any time. I think Kelsey has shared it a couple times, but it's also undergone a bunch of revisions. So
you agree that this is a priority?
No question. This is absolutely on the priority horizon. When we're going to be able to do it, I think, is the question, given finance, the upgrading the core financial system is a priority as well. The human resources system that doesn't even exist is a priority. So which one comes first and how we do it and how we figure AS400 retirement into that is all the question that we need to figure out and then present a plan to you.
Frank, let me ask you a quick question before you leave, though, because we're talking about the AS400. Then when we talk about PeopleSoft that we've dumped millions of dollars in, how many other systems do we have in play?
Commissioner O'Connor would tell you that there's about 12 subsystems to, so we consider PeopleSoft to be our core system, and there's somewhere between 10 and 12 other next level down systems, all of which need to be reviewed, modernized, and in most cases replaced, although I'm not 100% convinced.
Is it going to push into PeopleSoft or no?
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
No question.
Okay.
Part of our major priority is to get rid of all of the subledgers. We are heavily criticized for our financial subledgers by our outside auditors. So the idea of bringing all of those subledgers into one system, whether that be the next iteration of PeopleSoft, which PeopleSoft is end of life. The vendor has already said they will not upgrade. There are security upgrades, but there will be no feature upgrades to PeopleSoft. The vendor would like us to move to their next iteration of PeopleSoft, which would allow for all of that integration. So that's a lot of what Kelsey and her team are working on, is figuring out what's next, how do we get there, what's it going to cost, and how does it all fit together?
That's my question. How many more millions
That's exactly
are we
right.
going to
And
to this?
I will say right now, a few.
Thank you, President Hudson.
Wow. Thank you.
Wow. All righty. Councilor Paniagua.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Rick Alsey.
Item number 20. It's about the Employee Assistance Program.
Absolutely. Thank you. Rick Alsey, Director of Human Resources. So item 20 is to enter into a contract with ENI, Employee Network, incorporated for our new EAP, and it's a 3+1+1 contract, so the option to extend twice if we choose to, and the not to exceed amount on that is $40,000 annually.
What's the role?
So it's the Employee Assistance Program.
Okay.
Kind of like Help People is doing for us now. They provide mental health counseling. They provide, well, that's what Help People does. E&I provides mental health counseling. They have a concierge service for folks, for all our employees and their families. They have medical advocacy. They have elder care advocacy. So they have a larger base and larger organization to provide more services than Help People was able to.
Gotcha.
They also make referrals to different kinds of services that are needed, like mental health, financial, lawyers, things like that.
Substance abuse. There's a whole slew of positive things. What's that?
Rick, how many positions do we have open in the city government right now?
That is a good question.
Well, I'm asking you because you're the head of the.
I have no clue, honestly. We don't have a system in place to allow us to know that.
You have a system you can tell us how many positions are open?
No. So the technology that Frank was talking about, the HRIS, would be that system that allows us to know how many vacancies we have, how we fill them, allow us to be proactive about filling those vacancies. But currently, AS400 doesn't track any of that. So newer systems track essentially seats, and then how we put people in those seats. AS400 just tracks the people, and that's one of the biggest downfalls.
I just saw a list of positions that were open just the other day, 7 or 8 positions that you've published.
Yep, we have a bunch on recurring, but it depends on departments reaching out to us to confirm that they have a vacancy.
So they let you know if somebody's, hey, this guy's not working for me anymore?
Correct.
Oh, that's good.
I mean, like to Frank's point, ideally in the future we are proactive about it and we can see where all the vacancies are, and we can plan monthly as here are your vacancies, here's your vacancies, and go through and start to fill those faster and more efficiently.
I'm concerned, like city residents that are on the civil service test, and then we don't know we really don't know if the positions are, when those positions are open. I'm wondering procedurally when they're contacted so they can come in for interviews and all that.
Well, there is. So there's a procedure in place for civil service. So the exams are given when positions are filled or when positions become vacant. So when people term, it triggers something with the county to begin prepping an exam. So there's some processes in the background, but it's a little bit different than knowing how many positions we have vacant at the moment.
Because the council continually sees work that's being sourced out that used to be done by city personnel.
Right.
There's this concern that we're skipping over that important part, like interviewing city residents that might be on those civil service lists.
They're being interviewed for sure.
The guy I was talking
I've got
about
it
2 weeks ago. Oh, you got it. Good. You got it.
Yep, I printed it out for you.
Good.
So I've got an answer for you. We can sidebar on that. But
Good
So we
job,
got
Hogan.
interviewed?
Not yet.
Okay.
So there is a canvas list that's going out this week for that position, and he's on that canvas list. And there was discrepancies between the information I was given and the information that this county has that I can discuss with you.
Because what rings hollow is a lot of times some department heads say that we have, because of the city residency requirement, prevents us from hiring people. People get turned down the job because they have to be city residents to take those jobs.
Which is semi-fair. I mean, in my opinion, I don't think that's a downside. I think that we just don't have the technology and the people in place to tap into what we have. So I don't see it as a downside of employment with the city.
I see it's a downside of city residents who are on a list, aren't contacted to be interviewed. That's I see as a downside.
But there are a lot that are being contacted. There's just some folks that are at the bottom of the list that we can't contact without going through the top reach, which is a New York State issue that I can't. Yeah.
Just to bring it back to the employee assistance program, are there any questions?
So along those lines, speaking of the system that Frank was, so what system do we use for talent management?
We don't. Everything's done manually. Correct.
They need you, Councilor Majuk.
We desperately need an HRIS and an ATS. So
We can have a committee meeting, though, because I have a lot of questions about, we always talk about you using Indeed, and we're just not getting the applicants, and the residency is an issue, so the
Indeed's
fact
beyond
that
broken.
the software system is not giving you current daily status of how many availability and all of that. That's concerning to me.
Absolutely.
And like, what about paper and pen and clipboards and hanging them up on the wall every day? We check. How many vacancies? Checking with the... Yeah.
Thank you.
We can absolutely do something.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Gabbard.
Thank you, Madam President. I have items 21 through 38. Items 21, 22, and 23 are finally ready.
Thank you.
And items number 24.
Councilors, Connor Muldoon, Office of Accountability, Performance, and Innovation. We are looking to enter into a free trial with an existing vendor, Rubicon. They provide technology support for our sanitation. They currently provide technology support for our snowplows. We're looking to do a free trial for our sanitation operations. This will provide, beyond just turn-by-turn navigation assistance, service verification, historical and real-time reporting, bulk pickup scheduling, support with illegal setouts procedures, and soon-to-be cart asset management documentation as well.
I love it. Any questions?
So this is going to mirror what the snowplow map currently does?
It is this. The snowplow map is different. That's with Esri as our provider, and that communicates where our snowplows have been. Mm-hmm. This is more of an internal tracking tool so that the sanitation crew leaders can see, did all of the houses that were expected to be serviced on that day, did their trash get picked up?
So currently, what do they use for the routes? Do they have some kind of navigation, or they just know the routes?
They just know the routes.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 25.
Hi, Ann Fordock, First Deputy Commissioner. So this is to purchase 2 trash packers. We just need them. There's more. They're taking 2 years to get. By the time we get them, we're going to have several more that need to retire. I do have Rich DeVesti if you have any particular questions about the fleet, but we did go over a lot of the fleet questions with the CIP meeting. We just didn't put this in CIP. I preferred to use the ARPA funds. So that's why you're seeing it as a separate item.
So you said this was in that, or?
It's not in CIP, it's just different money.
Gotcha.
Yep. But it's part of, Rich's fleet plan.
Okay. I thought we voted on 2 last time. That's what.
And so that,
we did.
does that go with?
That was last year you got 2? Last year you got 2, right?
Goodness.
Yeah.
Was it 2 or 4?
4. It was 4. It was 4. I'm sorry.
I think it was 4 because, 2 were with Rachel May's assistant.
It was 4 last year.
Perfect. Any questions? All right, item 26.
Mary, do you want me to do this one? I can do.
27.
26 and 27 are both the Onondaga Road project with Onondaga County. And so it's going to be sidewalks and roads. If you are familiar with that stretch, I know Councilor Majoka is, because we have talked about it. So it's going to make it more pedestrian friendly. And we are just, this dollar amount is our share of that project. So.
Okay.
Any questions? All right, item number 28. 28 and 29.
Mary, do you have the Genesee Dig ones?
26 and 7. This came out with attachment. This is, okay.
28 and 29, Genesee Dig ones, capital improvement plan, address pavement, water, related infrastructure, and streetscape and ADA compliance. And our portion is 165.
That's with the ADA compliance, correct?
That's a part of it.
Yeah, this is part of the West Genesee Street project. There's certain segments of sidewalk that weren't included in our project. So this is to do some additional sidewalk improvements as a betterment. And I believe it's between Milton and Myrtle. Yeah.
But 26, 27, 28, 29, they're kind of sort of on the same project line, correct?
No, it's
They-
6%.
no,
28 and 29 are together, the bond ordinance and the authorization.
they're not all the same.
26 and 27 is the county's project, and that's to extend their Onondaga Boulevard project into the city a little bit. So that's our share of that project.
They did one as part of the capital plan.
I'm just looking at all these West Genesee streets.
Oh.
So, yeah, that's on the back.
I don't know why they,
We'll have to get back to you on that.
Okay, any other questions? All right, item 30 and 31.
Good afternoon, Beth Smith from the Water Department. Item 30 is to reduce the previously appropriated money into the ARPA fund for the intake extension. We'd like to reduce that and appropriate that into the the East Genesee project, West Genesee project. Any questions on that?
Any questions? Thank you. Item number 32.
32 is to enter into a contract with American Leak Detection. We've worked with them previously. It did go through the RFP process, and American Leak performs specialized leak detection at night when there's less consumption. Any questions?
Do we already have pre-existing technology that determines that with the leaks? Wasn't there something that was going to happen with that, if I'm not mistaken? If I can remember.
what was the question?
About water leaks. Was there any technology that we have prior to determine the water leaks throughout the city?
Actually, yes. We have an $800,000 smart technology grant that we will be utilizing for specialized leak detection equipment and sensors that we will be installing throughout the city.
Okay, they're going to be installed. Gotcha. Thank you.
Right. This is what this is.
Didn't that system started?
There was a pilot system, yes,
right.
and we are pursuing that, absolutely, with the smart money.
How's that? Could we see the data on that?
I can speak with the commissioner on that. I'm sure he has that.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it'd be good to just see the outcome of that.
Sure. I'll let him know. Absolutely.
Okay, then we have 33.
Good afternoon, councilors. Mary Robinson, engineering. And to answer, I don't know where I work. To answer your question on 28 and 29, it was in the CIP, the sidewalk money for West Genesee Street. 33 is an acceptance of some sewer lining and the construction of a 100-foot-long storm sewer in the 1000 block of East Fayette Street. This is related to the South Krause Apartments project to meet the one-on-one sanitary sewer offset. No cost to the city.
Say that again, Mary.
No cost to the city.
Thank you. Number 34.
34 is authorization for an agreement with CNS Engineers for the Arsenal Park hydraulic study and benefit cost analysis. This is a FEMA grant that we received. So we're asking for the agreement not to exceed $139,000. The way we have the grant set up is that the grant will pay 100% of the consultant's fees, and the 25 local share is in-kind services of engineering employees. So almost no cost to the city of Syracuse. And the purpose of the study is to try and implement a project so that we remove people from the 100-year floodplain that have to pay flood insurance.
Can you say that last part again? You said what's the purpose?
The purpose of the study is to come up with a solution to implement a project to ultimately eliminate some residents from the 100-year floodplain which has the additional burden of the flood insurance requirement.
Any other questions? Thank you. Item number 35.
35 through 37 is Phase 2 of the North, South, East, West Corridors Interconnect Project. We're starting the North, South, East, West project construction this spring, actually, within a few weeks, hopefully. And we couldn't implement the one leg on James Street, so we received additional, because of budgetary constraints. We went back to SMTC and got some additional tip money. So we have to complete the design of the James Street corridor interconnect for a cost of $300,000. And then we'll implement that leg of the project probably next year. So the design was almost completed, but we realized we had a budgetary problem, so we stopped the design. So this is for a bond ordinance agreement with New York State DOT and project authorization for the remaining design phase. And it's 80% federal, 15% Marchicelli, and 5% local.
Thank you.
All right.
I like the Marchicelli.
Any questions? Thank you.
Item number 38.
It's just to confirm.
Just a confirmation.
Oh, confirmation. All right. Madam President, I'm all set. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilor Hogan.
Thank you, President Hudson. I have items 39 through 44. 39 is ready. 40 is, who's speaking to this? 40 and 41. Oops. Commissioner Collins.
Councilors, Michael Collins, Commissioner of Neighborhood and Business Development. So items 40 and 41 go together. Home Headquarters has requested that we move some money from their closing cost assistance allocation that we've done through the American Rescue Plan Act into the SHARP program. The closing cost assistance is funded in several other ways, and the SHARP program is, as you know, an extremely popular program, and just when it comes to what's best for meeting the needs of our constituents right now, that's what they've requested, so we'd like to be able to honor that.
Excellent. Any questions?
So, Commissioner, when we speak of SHARP, because as you said, it's a very, very good program. Do we know, in terms of those that apply each year, those that get awarded, and those that get turned away in terms of lack of funding? Do we know what that number is?
I can talk to Home Headquarters and get that for you. So what we get reported to us are the everybody that is awarded, because we, in order to reimburse them, they provide us with the details for address, income qualification, and work that was done, since the money goes right into the house. And then we have the informal communications with them specific to just how big the waiting list is.
I mean, it'd be good to know the number, because I think as I participated in that program a while back, and it's such a powerful program, and for us, the public information that at this moment, city is not, so bad, So this may be a good time to really assess that. That we need to maybe, push more resources to be able to.
So this is a program that's always going to use whatever resources we can push towards it. The need is there. What we've seen from the housing study that is currently underway is that the need is vast across the city.
So I would say, this is great, but it's that season. Spring is coming. People are looking to really, renovate their homes and add. It's good to look at those numbers. I would recommend, if we need to go up, let's do that. Give us those details, please.
I'm happy to look into those details. We do have in the item preceding this, there's a fair amount of money that's proposed to be allocated for this exact same program through CDBG as well. But we're always looking to feed it.
And what I'm saying is, with the numbers that we will see, is it enough for who are those that are applying and those that we are turning away. That's all I'm saying.
It wouldn't be enough.
It's to Councilor Allen's point. It will never be enough.
Okay.
Yeah. So we
for us to at least move a little closer.
we agree, and every dollar we can, we're pushing that way.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Quick question.
Commissioner, one other, I'm sorry, Councilor, you go ahead.
Just a quick question. Are the number of closings down from what they anticipated they would be?
So no, we've got multiple funding sources. Home headquarters has multiple funding sources. We've allocated multiple funding sources towards it. So it's not that the closings are down. It's that when it comes to the amount of money that we've allocated on top of what we typically allocate with CDBG, just trying to meet the need where it is, and at the moment the need is greatest in Sharp. So just looking to honor that request from home headquarters.
Thanks.
Sure.
Council, you said that housing study.
Yes.
We've talked about that. When's that supposed to be done, do you know?
June.
June, okay. We'll look forward to it. You're going to distribute to all the councilors?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So that's, any other questions, 41? Okay. 42 and 43 will be held. This concerns the exit from the SACPA agreement that I'm fully in favor of, and then part of it is the expansion of NBD, which I think we need some committee meetings on, and I'm not sure I'm comfortable with it. So we'll editorialize a little bit.
Councilor, would you introduce and table 42, and then you can all hold it if you need to?
Table 42, and then we'll hold 43. 44, designate, this the designation. Anybody going to speak to this? Kate?
Clarify, you're going to enter and hold 42, and what with 43?
43, we're going to hold too.
You're holding for a committee meeting? You're going to
Yes.
schedule one? Okay.
44 is designation. Kate?
Yes.
Why are you designating this?
Yeah, Kate Atwater, Preservation Planner for the city. So I'm here on behalf of the Landmark Preservation Board, which is petitioning the council to designate the Upsilon Alpha Chapter House at 300 Waverly as a local protected site. The owners of the property are the Upsilon Alpha alumni of Syracuse, and they actually initiated the designation. In its review, the LPB determined that the property is significant for its association with early to mid-20th century collegiate life in Syracuse University, and as the home of the Upsilon Alpha chapter of the Chi Omega National Women's Fraternity. To give you a little history, the house was constructed in 1910, and as a duplex in the Walnut Park residential area. The Upsilon Alpha, they purchased the property in 1919 and expanded it significantly in the 1940s. At a time when women were not allowed to participate fully in campus social life, early women's fraternities, such as the Upsilon Alpha chapter, offered secure housing for female students, as well as opportunities for leadership development through a variety of social, civic, and philanthropic endeavors, both on campus as well as within the community. The Upsilon Alpha chapter includes in its membership women who've gone on to successful and illustrious careers. To mention a couple, there's Barbara Hale, who in 1960 was the first woman to receive a degree in physics from SU, as well as Laura Hand, who was an award-winning local journalist. The chapter actually disbanded in 1992, but they've retained ownership of the building. It's currently used as a sorority, since 2001. It's leased out. Upsilon Alpha has been an excellent steward of this property, and in 2021 they successfully nominated it to the National Register of Historic Places, and they see this as the next step to its long-term preservation and overall stewardship.
Any questions?
Are they doing this to protect it from the university from purchasing it? And
well, the protection would not prevent SU from purchasing the property.
That it won't?
It would not prevent the SU from purchasing the property. However, it would help guide how, if a new owner, how it would be used, modified to new use.
So does this have a local and a state designation, or just local?
Right, I was going to ask you that.
It has both. It's on the National Register of Historic Places already as of 2021, and now this is a local designation.
So So what if a new owner comes in? What could and what they could not do with that area and that property?
With that property, so they...
Not to go into a stretch, but you can give us...
Yeah, no, I understand. The designation covers the exterior, any exterior alterations to the property, and up into including demolition. The landmark, there is a process, the certificate of appropriateness process that they would need to go through with the Landmark Preservation Board to receive approval for the proposed alterations.
So it's the restoration on the outside?
The designation is for the exterior, not the interior of the property.
So yeah, they might purchase that building too then, Latoya.
It means there's local oversight too, whereas before it was just state and they don't necessarily comment unless
That's correct.
you go to
That's
them.
correct, and that's correct.
So the watchdogs are on it.
Yeah.
Okay, the watchdogs are on it. Thank you very much, Kate.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilor.
I am finished there, President.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Majok.
Thank you, Madam President. I have item 45 and 46. Chief Schaaf, are you here to give us some money?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Just in time.
Go ahead, give us some money.
My watch just told me it's time to stand up, so it was perfect timing. Item number 45 is request to accept a $250 donation from the Summit Federal Credit Union to be used to purchase equipment for our K-9 unit.
Excellent.
Equipment. I pay that money in dog food.
Thanks them for us, will you?
We will, for sure. Item 46 is enter into an agreement with Paradigm Polygraph Associates to conduct polygraph examinations on behalf of the police department with this current recruit hiring process. We're starting tomorrow. The hiring process this will be spent not to exceed $4,500 to be spent this fiscal year. We're down polygraphers because of retirements, so this is a one-time thing. We're sending more officers to get qualified in polygraphy so they can do that in the future. This particular company is a retired Syracuse police officer who uses the same methodology, and because of consistency, we'd like to just continue on for this one-time shot.
I got a question with this. How efficient is the polygraph been so far?
What is it?
How efficient has it been?
How efficient is it? What do you mean?
How accurate.
How accurate? Yes. That's the better term. Thank you, Councilor Schultz. How accurate is a polygraph?
The thing that really happens in the polygraphs most times is people will admit to things that they hadn't admitted to before. That's kind of what is used to draw things out. There is an art and a science to it. Your blood pressure raises, your pulse raises. You do show, and I'm not a polygrapher, so I'm just giving you the layman's version. That will give the trained polygrapher hints and clues and things to hone in on a little bit and ask more questions about.
Yeah, the only reason why I was asking because I was just, thinking that, some people would have high blood pressure and raised blood pressure to, to detect or trigger something with a polygraph, and I was thinking that might be something that, is there a follow-up if a person does not pass the polygraph for them to be re-questioned or whatever, so that way we're down candidates, so that we're not Xing off somebody that may have triggered it, a false trigger or something like that.
So I've seen polygraphy reports at the final table when we're making decisions where somebody had something that alarmed us and looked to be untruthful, where they offered a plausible explanation of what would have caused that. And if the polygrapher says that makes sense to me, that would tend to raise somebody's blood pressure, pulse, and show possible signs of deception, that it's possible that makes sense to them.
So, Chief, let me ask you a question, because I'm looking at the letter, right? And in the first one, it says Polygraph Associates. But then on number 3, it says the city shall pay Blue Line. Who is Blue Line?
Yeah, dead ass, bro.
I'm not sure what I have to see the letter.
Blue Line?
Yeah. It's the same company. I just don't know how that works.
Neither, because that kind of bothers me.
Could you look into that, Chief?
Coming from law.
Not every direction.
Hi, councilors. Patrick Parkinson, Department of Law. Just a typographical error. Thank you for catching it. We'll correct it.
Thank you, Helen. See what I tell you.
Thank you.
All right, other questions? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Afternoon, Councilors. Michelle Sapansky, Deputy Commissioner of Neighborhood Development. Item 47, 12426 Calthorpe Avenue. We would like to request to withdraw this property. We found out in the course of outreach that the owner is deceased and there's a litigation dispute between the daughter and the nieces over who the owner is, so they can't get it into a tax trust until that's resolved, so it's going to take a little bit of time. So if we could pull that one off, that'd be great.
Thank you.
And then item 48, 1921 Midland Avenue is a vacant lot that owes over $100,000. We would like to re-subdivide that and do land assembly for infill construction.
What is it adjacent to?
On Midland. It's closer down to where the old gas station was, I believe.
Okay.
Like 1500 block is West Brighton, further south.
So is it adjacent to another home, or is it just?
It's adjacent to other lots.
Is it adjacent to the barber shop?
It is close to that area. I can confirm exactly where it's at for you.
Right off of Newell.
Yep.
Okay.
Should be a brownfield.
Okay, I got you. And you're going to use this as one of the...
We're doing site assembly for infill construction, yeah.
All right, thank you.
I got one question before you sit down. I'm sorry. If you don't mind, Counselor, can I? I'm just asking, permission. For people that are behind, is there any type of program besides a payment plan that they can go to seek help, as far as grants or something like that, or a loan or something like that we offer?
Yeah, during the course of all of our foreclosure prevention outreach that we do in MBD, we connect people with Home Headquarters, Empower Federal Credit Union, Financial Empowerment Center, basically to kind of walk them through what their options are. Counseling sometimes there's opportunities for people to be able to sell the properties, to be able to pay off the taxes depending on kind of what the specifics of their situation are, or to get access to credit from other sources where kind of some of that down payment cost under the previous tax trust they could.
And that information is given to them upon.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And over the last year, the New York State Homeowners Assistance Fund has been available to people. They could get up to $50,000 to pay their back taxes and water. So it was just a matter of them applying. And it was outreach done like door to door to people that owed. So it's just a matter of people actually applying.
Information.
That's good information. I think.
Community service announcement. Thank you.
Just a quick reminder that we have made the payment plan considerably more accessible in the last few months and waived the requirement for a down payment. So it's pretty much open to just about anybody now.
Perfect.
With a much lower interest rate.
Thank you.
All righty. All done, Counselor?
Yes.
All righty. Counselor Monto.
Thank you, President Hudson. I have item number 49. It's a change local law, change the language in the city charter for the first time in 63 years. Auditor Maroon is here.
Good afternoon, Councilors. Mayor Maroon, City Auditor. We submit this legislation to you all, as Councilor Monto just pointed out. The language is 63 years old, and the technologies, as we've heard today, have changed, and the information access is important and timely. So we would appreciate your support in this local law.
I think it is great. This is being done across the state as well, right?
Yes.
So I would ask my other councilors if they would like to join in with us on that.
Totally would.
Yeah.
Thank you, Councilors.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before I move on, let me backtrack a little bit. Michelle, let me ask you this. The 326, we've raised that amount now? I think I asked that once before because I know that 151 and now it's 326.
Yeah, so that was related to the change of the title company. We recently went to contract with another title company. One of the things that was really holding up kind of our ability to move properties over to the land bank efficiently was the rate that we were getting title searches back from the two companies that we were using. They were very cost effective, but not efficient at all.
These are more expensive. Yes. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Councilor Hogan.
Thank you. This is a waiver of the rules on the agenda, so
Do
this
that here.
authorize the demolition of, actually, the demolition design, correct, Eric?
Demolition design, yeah, so good afternoon, councilors.
600,000 square foot building.
Correct. So what this is looking to do would be to authorize the ability to retain the services of CNS companies using the cash capital account of the city. As you may recall, CNS is currently undertaking the seeker for the demolition of the former SDC property. Given the size, scale of this demolition, CNS's expertise is going to be extremely helpful as we look to put this out for competitive bid, and the intent would be to have that demolition contractor lined up and then moving forward with tearing down the building and working on the site. So
And this is reimbursable by the state.
it is fully reimbursable through the state grant that you'll recall is the $29 million award. So
Well, not fully. There's a little tiny commitment that we have to make from the city, right?
that is correct, but it is, whether it's design or whether it's the demolition itself, the state is going to reimburse all those expenses, including this one. So
Any questions from my colleagues on this? I'd also like to point out, 6:30 tonight, there'll be a neighborhood meeting on this project, the Syracuse Developmental Center project. Albany's will be there. I imagine you'll be there, right, Eric?
I will be present.
Yes.
Yep.
So it should be interesting, and bring your popcorn.
Where is it at, Tip Hill?
Yeah, at Burnett Park, ice rink.
Ice rink, okay. All righty. Thank you, and with that, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? All in favor? Aye. All righty, see you Monday.